Name is Keen, joined here by Potat in the corner. How's it going, Potat?
Hey, I'm not doing too bad, and we got a few really cool teams here. As you said, they're both from Ontario, but right here, today we actually have a bit of a weird matchup because it's a 2 versus 3. We have York Esports does not have their third player, so it will be Andy and Shadow Crypt kind of by themselves here. They're missing out on their third, and so already it's a bit of a scary matchup. It's a 2v3.
It is, and hey, I pressed tab. I see something kind of evil. What do you think? What do you think I'm talking about here, Potat? It's a 2v3.
I mean, all I'm seeing is that there is a strike shot Rasmus goalie, which is not very fun. I don't know why it has so much range. It's not a good idea, but we're already seeing that it's not, the Pauldrons isn't going to help you here because you don't have it with Equal already dying.
No, absolutely not. A beautiful Julie dash punch is going to create the power play, but Sustain is going to take out that Juliet with a beautiful card. The ultimate coming out for Sustain, 2 equal occasions, up and down, waiting in the corner. I don't know how you really are to proceed in this 2v2. Like, you kind of want to give it your all, but at the same time, you feel kind of bad. But either way, the core is going to make its way back to up and down. Juno Slime is out. The power play is over. Great core flip into the Rasmus primary is going to secure the goal. And that's going to be 1-0 in this 2v3.
Yeah, I think if Andy and Shadow really want to have a shot, it's going to be mostly coming down to Andy, simply because with that Juno, you have a lot more speed, you have a lot more range, rather than a character like Juliet with Shadow Crypt, where you're going to have to let the core come to you. And so Andy's going to have to be playing around the 3 players from Fanshawe Fuel, rather than just kind of the, like, without much of a forward either.
Absolutely. And I mean, one thing I do want to say is Pummelers is going to be just an incredible gear here. Sustain and up and down are picking that up. You know, when you have that striker advantage, it's going to allow them to really just like run around and be really fast. And I just want to say it right here. These teams are in it to win, all right? So I would take Pummelers as well, all right? If it's not disallowed, I'm 100% taking that Pummelers. Now that speed is going to help out Sustain here as they open up the goal up and down, going to sink it for the set. And that is a 3-0 for the side of Fuel Esports.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the Pummeler's boost that's automatically given. But here we are going into the first draft. It's a 3-0. It's not too surprising with the 2v3, but hey, maybe Andy and Shadow here can manage to pull it out of the back. But with that Among Titans too on Fini, that's going to be really fast. They're all going to have so much speed and some extra size too for Equal and their forward as well.
Absolutely. And excited to see, you know, what Andy's going to be able to do with that extra slime, right? He's going to be in some pretty messy situations, of course. So excited to see what he can pull out with those additional primaries as we get into this first set.
Yeah, and right here, Andy has all of the cooldowns. Shadow actually has a pretty good setup on Juliet as well. And oh my gosh, you can see there, but the Pummeler's boost finally gone with that kill.
Yeah, everything's equalized here as the power play begins. So not as much as a power play as it is equaling the playing field. Pass down to Sustain, though, is going to look for this barrier. Shadow Crypt taken dangerously low, is staggered, is broken. The right Rasmus abilities could take them out, but not quite yet. The Fini ultimate is going to secure that goal barrier. Only one on this map, so there's not a lot of work to do to crack open that goal. Primary coming out. Rasmus secondary not going to find much, and those primaries are going to make the difference for Andy as he's KO'd.
Yeah, Andy getting taken out is really scary here. Shadow just doesn't have the speed or the movement, and it looks like we're gonna see a little bit of Sustain playing with their food here. Misses the open net, passes it to their teammates, and yeah, we're just gonna see the domination so far. And I mean, Andy and Shadow are doing a really good job though of trying to keep this court. The barrier is open too.
This is big. This is an open barrier for the side of YU. Unfortunately, Andy is going to lose their barrier there. Does win the strike war with a beautiful Juno secondary. Bounces off of the center. but it is just not enough, as Equal Locations is going to be able to dribble score with that Rasmus, and that is 2-0 in this second set for the side of Fuel Esports.
Yeah, and with Equal Equations playing forward, swapping with up and down as well, I think it is pretty clear that they're fully expecting to win, no matter what Andy or Shadow do. But Andy and Shadow have been putting up an incredible attempt either way. They got the barrier open. I would love to see them get 1, 2, maybe even a set here if they can manage to pull it off. And just like that, we do see up and down ways to flip, but unfortunately, it's just not enough. And
oh my goodness,
here we go. It's a 2-1-2.
Absolutely. We are back to an even playing field here. Shadow Crypt with a beautiful dash punch onto the center. That is going to take out Sustain for now, but they are back. The Finny, small but fast. Andy with a beautiful Juno secondary is going to strike war the Finny ultimate. Now it's up to Shadow Crypt to keep possession. The Blobos are coming out, but Rasmus is just too much. Equal Equations is going to find the goal against Andy, taking this second set 3-0 for the side of Fuel Esports.
And now we're getting into this second draft. This could be big for Andy here if he manages to get a hold of Hotshot. But yeah, it looks like we're gonna see a Cast pick. That's a Hotshot on Andy. Maybe letting York kind of even up the playing field a little bit, make it a little nicer, because those Blobos are basically going to act like a third player at this point. You got the 2 Blobos from the secondary, you got the 2 Blobos from the primary, you got all the Blobos from the ult, so they're just going to be like 15 Blobos out at once, and Andy and Shadow might have a third player at this point, but it's all up to how well Andy can pilot those. You don't want to have to play 2 players in one, so it's going to be a little difficult, but hey, Andy might be able to pull it off, maybe get a couple points here with Shadow.
Absolutely, as the Blobo buddies are flung out. Barrier does open for Andy, though. Shadow Crypt trying to keep possession, does manage for just a little bit, but unfortunately not enough Blobos to defend against up and downs. Just incredible onslaught. And that is going to be the first point going to Fuel Esports in this third set.
Yeah, and Andy's Juno, Shadow Crypt, has been doing a really good job, though, of catching these kills when they come. And unfortunately, though, it's going to get taken out in return, and Sustain is going to put that in.
These are some quick points with actually a lot more going on than I would have expected. Shadow Crypt is finding these KOs, and Andy, to their credit, is holding pretty well on this map, which honestly I think it's kind of hard to hold in the 2v3, all right? But I mean, that's kind of what you expect on Amy's app, right? Shadow Crypt going with the dash is going to find it behind. This could be their big chance. Andy has the flip. Blobbo Buddy coming out, punch, going to try to stun Equal Equations, just not enough. Jumps in, not going to find it. Great core flip to try and break some pressure, and it's just going to beat up and down with every interaction. Oh my goodness, Potat.
I mean, Andy's digging into some of his nasty roots with corpse control. Here he is saving basically everything, but unfortunately, with the 2v3, it is going to eventually come to an end. And this first game is going to get closed out, but Andy with some insane saves for this last point, and we're going to see Fuel taking the first game pretty quickly here. It's hard, but hey, Andy and Shadow are here to have fun and maybe get some experience in, at least with the 2v3.
Exactly. I mean, it is what it is. Andy with 32 saves, that's probably 30 more saves than I would have managed in this 2v3 situation. So, hats off to Andy and Shadow Crypt with 4 KOs. It took almost the entire team of Fuel there to take out, as many KOs as just Shadow Crypt. Up and down, Sustain, Equal Equations, ending with 5. So, you know what? Hats off. Andy and Shadow Crypt, they are fighting back, okay? They're not just laying down. They're playing it out. That's awesome. That's so cool of them. I appreciate that, that drive. So, well played in this first game. We'll see where we're going for game 2, right? I think it's going to be Atlas Lab, and that's going to be selected from Fanshawe. So, and we'll see how they do on this map, right?
Yeah, and I mean, they weren't quite able to get any goals in. However, the side of York was able to open up the barrier quite a few times, whether up and down the forward was playing in the net or not. But in theory here, they might be able to pull out a few goals in the next game on Atlas's lab. It's not nearly as fast of a map, I'd say, because rather than a big death hole in the middle of the map, it is a different death hole in the middle of the map. And so now we might be able to see Andy and Shadow getting a few more kills here, maybe providing a little bit more pressure, and hopefully we're going to see a few goals come out from the side.
Would be brilliant to see, you know. That would be true warrior spirit if they managed to do that, you know, really fighting, digging in, finding every weakness that they can. But you know, we'll have to find out. Atlas Lab, I think there's a lot of opportunities to be made on that map, right? Especially knowing Andy as a player, I think he will definitely benefit for having that black hole there. So excited to see what they'll try to do, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to maybe see Shadow Crypt on a more mobile forward character,
Mm.
or even maybe pull out a midfielder kind of character. Because if we can see a bit more, like Shadow Crypt, don't get me wrong, was getting so many kills, had so much pressure as well. But unfortunately, just Juliet in general doesn't have as much of a pressure as you'd like. And I'm pretty sure I did see pummelers coming out from Shadow, which you have to get a double kill to get any use out of that, which is already going to make things a
Ooh.
lot harder for Shadow, because that's just speed that you're missing out on from pummelers. So if you can get maybe an X, or preferably like a Kazan or a Zentaro, maybe even Asher, uh, then you'd be able to maybe get a bit more like range and speed going on, which unfortunately just Juliet as a character doesn't have that much of.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, I would say I don't know how Shadow Crypt's spending their time on the game, if they're in the solo queue mines or if they're just an in-house scrim house player. But if you know, if you've been in the queues, you know, as a forward, if sometimes you have to midfield, maybe he's got like an Estelle or a Kai that he could pull out that they could pull out for the situation. I think that might really help out in the 2v3, right? Something with the mobility and something that's used to trying to fight off, you know, one or two players at a time. So, you know, even as Zentaro, if you really want to stick with the brawler characters, we'll have to see, right? I mean, I imagine Andy and Shadowcrypt are back there in the locker room really talking about their strategies, how they can really try and take this one, at least put on a show, right?
Yeah, and looking at Clarion Shadow Crypt's Clarion Corp page,
Mm.
Shadow Crypt actually was a challenger peak last season, and unfortunately they haven't played too many games. They did play a game yesterday, so they have been in the queues at the very least. But they did play a game yesterday, a few games yesterday, maybe get a little warmed up. But I am seeing an Octavia potentially coming out here,
Ooh.
or Erasmus. I don't know any of the character drafts yet. However, if we see some of those, maybe they'll be able to kind of control that core a little bit more. Whereas the Juno was trying to act like a third player,
Mhm.
but it's a little weird in this next match.
Yeah, and we are getting to the draft here. It is going to be the Kazan band coming out from York and the Luna band coming out from Fanshot. Is going to be Andy being targeted there. Absolutely. Rasmus is going to be the first pick coming out from York. And I believe Fuel Esports is going to be responding with that Zentaro Aimi. So that's it.
Oh,
Okay, so okay. So
ooh.
Octavia is on the field. You're not wrong, but it's not where we expected it, I believe.
This will be interesting. I don't know
Wait.
who the picks are, because York did pick three characters, so one of those characters just already isn't going to be in the match.
Oh.
But between the Rasmus, the X, and the Octavia, they could any one of those could be Shadow Crypt playing that character. But we could also see Andy. I'd imagine probably on the Rasmus goalie, because that's what I
Mm.
know he does. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes something else. Just maybe having a bit of fun. It's not over yet, but I mean, already. Just I've said it again and again. You have two. The 2v3 is just really hard to do, and I mean, you can hold it down for a while, but unfortunately, that barrier, that goal, is typically going to be fallen pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, and this is looks like a nasty amount of damage coming out against this Octavia, right? That's an I mean that's his entire that's a Finny. Survivability is going to be key here, and oh, I don't know if Rasmus is going to be able to keep that Octavia alive. So we'll see how well Shadow Crypt is at navigating such a dangerous field, but especially on Atlas Lab, right? They can really bully that poor Octavia into the center gravity well.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at a quick misstart of the game, it was on Imi's app again, as we queued, but then it got canceled. We reset. But actually, Shadow Crypt was hovering that Rasmus pick, so I wouldn't be surprised if that pick does end up coming out to be Rasmus. Yep, there it is.
Smart.
And then we're gonna see the Octavia goalie from
goodness.
Andy. Never before seen. It's been seen before. However, this should be very interesting because that goalie, if you can just run around the other team, I'm down. And we're also gonna see bite breakers on the other side.
Wait, true.
Lore accurate comp, all with some fancy skins going too. Not all.
It looks like they took it a little personally. They're not running the Pummelers this time. We've got Van Brace on the Imi up and down, and Siphoning Wand on Finny. And that's they showed what they could do, and now they're showing, hey, we can pull it back a little bit as we get into this first set. Andy's barriers are going down.
Yeah, and unfortunately Octavia doesn't have nearly the level of defensive capabilities as that Juno does have. Just as a character, you only got 2 abilities for that defense, and neither of them are very strong, because one of them you can own goal, the other one, it's decent. And the last one is speed, that you need to keep hitting the core, and as a goalie, you let the core go forward, your forward score, but with that secondary, we're going to see that goal go in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's only so many tools, and Andy kind of used both of them right at the start there, just allowing that lane to be open for the goal to just kind of bounce in. But Equal Equations with an ultimate in their own net is going to try to get the core up, sustain, trying to get it through Shadow Crypt down to Andy, who is going to lose their barrier here now. Does pop the speed boost, is getting involved in the play. One strike after the other, building that Octavia secondary passive. For every strike, you get bonus movement speed every time. For every moment, you're keeping that awake, but it's still up after getting that primary on Equal Equations, trying their best. Core flip coming out, creative angle, trying to bounce it off the back there, and that is the end of the Octavia speed boost. For now, and of Octavia.
Yeah, Octavia getting taken out. And honestly, if we can maybe see Andy getting some good awakenings, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Fanshawe let a Castellast drop down for Andy, but also, it's Octavia. You don't want Castellast, even if it is the 2v3. Octavia with Castellast, you just gotta take 20 minutes to burn that out. But we aren't gonna see Castellast in this draft. We're gonna see Andy hovering among Titans. And first of all, though, we do see the Deadeye pick from Sustain here. That's going to be dangerous for Andy especially, because that's a lot less size, so you're going to be a bit harder to hit. Same with the speed, but if Sustain can get some of these good hits, we saw a kill in the first set, even if it was only like a minute for the first set, it was a kill, and we're going to see that coming in here. It's going to be pretty dangerous. It's going to be like walking around a minefield for Andy here. Maybe running.
Running indeed. The Octavia secondary already being popped. Unfortunately, it is not going to last for too long, but a beautiful boys angle is going to keep the ball alive for Andy with a little bit of help from his own strike. Trying to take out up and down with the ultimate. This is a power play asterisk once again, going to slip by Andy. Open goal now, but Andy is involved in the play, trying to find a way to get these barriers. Sistine is back on the field, and that is one barrier from Shadow Crypt now. Only one more to go.
Yeah, and we're seeing here Andy keeps pushing up. Unfortunately, most of these pushes are after they lose their barrier, which means that if they make one misstep right here, they could lose their goal instantly. Andy, though, is able to keep it out for now, but it could be dangerous here, especially with that open net.
Open barrier does go down. Andy opens up the goal, but unfortunately, when it is a 2v3, you can just kind of sit over there and wait for, the chance that you can get it off of, the enemy forwards. And Sustain did just that, waiting for that ball, and finds the score while Andy's trying to secure some goals. But one barrier does go down. Shadow Crypt in the right position, scoring that one. Andy taking their own barrier, but Shadow Crypt waiting in the wings, finds the barrier. Then the ultimate is coming out. Great strike from Andy. He's going to keep it alive for just a little longer in this 2v1. And they're just playing with their food now, Patat. They're just playing with their food.
I mean, with the lack of a midfielder here in this game, we got both Andy and Shadow kind of trying to cover the role. But, I mean, unfortunately, Sustain up and down equal.
Oh my goodness, they scored!
No! We got the score coming up from Andy and Shadow Crypt. Oh my gosh. I mean, hey, you can go home saying, hey, we won that. We won the game, basically. We got that single score. We'll take it. That's the game there. That's ours.
YU Esports, be proud. That is not something that a lot of people can say that they've done. They've taken a point on the 2v3 when there's just so much pressure. And you know what? They are posturing to take a second one. Passing play coming out from up and down and Sustain. Andy ready to receive. Fortunately loses their barrier, but it's an open barrier for both of them. And now Sustain with the save. Finny secondary coming out. The triple take is going to save the score, the point for now. Shadow Crypt getting possession once again. Andy using that secondary, trying to find a way to get it in. A strike war win would have found the goal, but Shadow Crypt taken dangerously low. The Zentaro ultimate into the Finny card is going to be enough, and now it is just Andy on the 3v1.
I mean, that was a double kill without even intending on it. We saw once Shadow Crypt got taken out, unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot that Andy could do. Andy, just before then, had used all of his abilities up as well, so there wasn't really any opportunity to really perform a comeback there in that point. But now everybody has fresh health bars, and so maybe we will be able to see Shadow Crypt and Andy pulling something off, and we're seeing a little bit of rubber banding from Equal here too, so that might help at the very least.
So you're saying there's a chance, Botat, as Shadow Crypt opens up the net. Andy trying to receive the open court, not going to get it just yet. Burns their secondary, is going to use the Octavia primary, pops the core flip. Up and down is going to pop one of their own, and now it is a core flipless world. Andy trying to keep possession, trying to get it down to Shadow Crypt, popping the gravity well in the center, trying to create open lanes to score. This could be the breakaway that they're looking for. Andy using the secondary, not going to find it just yet. Right into the Rasmus hook. Core flip burned straight through Equal Equations, not going to find it just yet. This is an open barrier and one barrier left. Unfortunately, the triple take is going to be enough. And his open barriers in. Oh my goodness, Shadow Crypt with a great breakaway off of the Rasmus secondary is going to be able to just plop it into the top there. This is 2-2. This could be a set for YU.
Yeah, I mean, Fanshawe is playing with their food, but their food is fighting back. Shadow Crypt with an amazing save there is just showing that, like, they haven't played too many games of comp this season, but they know what they're doing. They're able to just keep the pressure going despite the 2v3, and they're not really ever getting killed. I haven't seen too many deaths from Shadow Crypt. We've only saw that one on the power play, but Shadow Crypt is staying alive and making goals where it counts.
Yes. Oh my goodness, what could have been a goal is a fumble, and now there is a chance, there is an opportunity for YU to take the goal. Rasmus primary not going to be enough. Up and down with the strike is going to clear it out for now. Finny ultimate coming out. The show has been stopped and no score just yet. Andy trying to build flip, but unfortunately the gravity well is just too much to account for, and the score is going to go in and Shadow Crypt is going to go down. That is the set for Fuel Esports.
I mean, that was a crazy set. I was not really fully expecting one or two goals from the side of York, but I mean, hey, they got fight or flight on Andy, which is going to be super useful here. Unfortunately, it's going to still be that minefield that I mentioned earlier. Andy is going to have to be running around, and same with Shadow Crypt here. with the spark of
Oh
agility, it's gonna be
my.
a game of running away. This is gonna be scary for both teams. This will be a crazy third set.
I am excited to see what comes of it. Equal Equations has gotten the Creation Exodia on Zentaro, a well-known win condition on the character, as Andy uses the secondary, trying to find these double barriers. Not going to find it. Secondary is going to burn. Glitch Pop coming out, not going to be enough to save it. And a beautiful angle is going to save this barrier for now. Strike War win against Up and Down. Andy getting involved, uses the Octavia ultimate to no avail for now. Almost gets taken out by the black hole. Is building that flip, does have it. This could be the turnaround that's why you are looking for.
Yeah, and Shadow Crypt and Annie have been providing such great offense.
Oh my goodness.
And we're gonna see Shadow Crypt use that hook, get it in that little coin slot, big coin slot even, between Up and Down and the top of the net, and we're gonna see another point starting out this set, and we can see York Esports managing to pull out a set for themselves. They almost did it in the previous set, but now if they can get one, this would be insane. But unfortunately, it's looking a bit scary so far.
Absolutely, with a set lead and a great strike war is going to secure the goal for now. Andy wants to stay in this game, and that is going to be Equal Occasions taken out. Sustain is with the flip now in front of the goal, lets it time out. That is going to be now once again a power play, a real power play for this time. Sustain is going to pop it on, use the ultimate, not going to find the goal just yet, giving Andy just a little sliver of hope, but it is going to be reactivated, recast, and that is going to be the goal.
Hey, we still got 2 more points here for York to maybe get themselves going, and we're already gonna see that first barrier taken by Shadow Crypt. But honestly, if Andy and Shadow Crypt can just keep this offense going, doesn't matter how much Fuel Esports are screwing around. Hey, a goal is a goal, and we're gonna take it no matter what. And that's what they've been doing so far.
Absolutely, triple play here, beautiful casting of the Rasmus ultimate to reclaim control of the ultimate, really mix up and down, but it's going to be Andy being taken out by the combined efforts of Sustain and Equal Equations. That is going to be the gravity well used to its maximum potential from Up and Down. Unfortunately, Shadow Crypt is just not equipped to deal with that, having used their abilities to take the barrier earlier. And this is a match point for the side of Fuel Esports.
Yeah, match point indeed, but maybe Andy and Shadow can pull something off. Fanshawe Fuel maybe trying to get this game over with, get this series over with, take their 2-0 and go home. But at the same time, York's here to have fun. They might have already been doomed from the start, but hey, here they are. Maybe they can pull off a comeback, get something going.
Oh, chat, this could be everything that YU needs. Great. Rasmus Primary is going to get the core on the other side of the field. The Finny ultimate is going to come out, is going to send the core right back to Sustain. The Primary is coming out, and now the equal playing field has been erased, and that is going to be a slow rolling goal for the side of YU. That is 2-2 now. This could be the set. This could be everything. We're only in week 1, but you know what? But that, I think I'm looking at an MVP right now. Shadow Crypt is just getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, Andy decided that he wanted to pull up to make that save there. He went ahead and did the Soren angle like 3 different times straight. And, I mean, it was crazy. But here we're seeing the final point, maybe, of the match. We could also see Andy and Shadow Crypt pulling it back in here.
As Shadow Crypt does respawn, this is once again a more even game than it was a few seconds ago. And now, with those sword angles, going to try to find it. Unfortunately, the bounce just got into the hands of Sustain, and that is going to be a strike back into the goal. 3-2 in this last set, and that is going to be the series for tonight. Fuel Esports are going to take it 2-0 tonight.
Yeah, that was... I mean, I've said it so many times, but the 2v3 is so difficult. This game, however, did last almost another 5 extra minutes compared to the previous one, and there were 2 different point 5s in that game, where we saw Shadow Crypt getting 4 goals
They were so
by
close
themselves.
with that. They were so close.
I mean, they have to be patting themselves on the back at the very least. That was a great series, despite the fact that it was just a 2-on-3. And we did end up seeing Sustain up and down equal equations managing to get their games going, just close out the game, close out the series, win their first match. But I mean, hey, York, if they did that well, if they got 4 goals on Fuel in just that 2v3, hey, they're not looking too bad for the rest of the season. And
Mhm.
I'd be excited to see how they're going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, and those weren't just like 4 goals dispersed among, a bunch of sets. No, those were 2 set points, 2 up on the enemy. They could have scored. They could have gotten that 1 set. It just 1 bounce went differently. 1 bounce went that way. It could have been a whole different story for our 2v3 Warriors. But, for us two, I think we're gonna be done here. Our series is over, and so is theirs. So with that, gonna bid you all a good night, a goodbye. It was wonderful to be here. It was wonderful to watch this game, these players. And it's wonderful to cast with you, Patat.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, we did see the 2v3, but hey, it was a great series anyways. We had great sets all day. I know we had Fairfield earlier did a really nice job, had some fun. Won their match, and we also saw Slew getting that nice 2-0. I love Slew, St. Louis, Potat. Oh yeah. But I mean, hey, it's been a great day. Thank
Oh,
you
yeah.
all for watching. Thank you all for coming out. And it's been a great day. That's all I got to say. Sykin, do you have anything
hmm
else?
No, that's about it. Thank you to production for bringing us in here and putting on these matches for us. And, thank you to all the players and the schools for participating. As always, thank you. I've been Sykin, joined by Patat. Have a wonderful rest of your night, everybody, and see you next time.